Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Confluence Cast presented by Columbus Underground. We are a weekly Columbus-centric podcast focusing on the civics, lifestyle, entertainment, and people of our city. I'm your host, Tim Fulton. This week, in anticipation of this fall's election, the Confluence Cast is endeavoring to introduce Columbus voters to the 12 council and 2 mayoral candidates in their own words. In today's interview, Luis Gil, candidate for District 2, discusses his background and why he's running for council. From his early life in Venezuela to his community involvement here in the United States, Luis opens up about what drives him to serve his community and how he envisions the future. You can get more information on what we discussed today in the show notes for this episode at theconfluencecast.com. Enjoy the interview. Sitting down here with Luis Gil, candidate for Columbus City Council for District 2. Mr. Gil, how are you, sir?
Great. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today.
No, absolutely. Can we start off just by walking us through who you are, what your background is, and, as that relates to your candidacy for council?
Well, thank you very much for that. My name is Luis Gil. I was born in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. I had a tragic family event, which is my mom dies when I was 16, and my mom always had that, vision that I should come to the United States someday.
Okay.
Even though way back when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, and one of those things that's what you wanted, and unfortunately, passing her very young at 36 years old. It was already the seed planted in my head, and voila, things do happen that way. It was not an easy thing to do, but the fact of the matter, that was her vision. And I had to just to give you a little bit of, the background of the decision coming to Ohio. I mean,
okay.
We're talking over 30 years ago. The Latino community was very small and so on. But migrating from Venezuela when it was at the time one of the richest country in South America, why leave? And it's one of the things that it was part of the, destination for me to go. So anyway, as I was being asked to where I wanted to go, the obvious thing was L.A., Miami, New York. These things that you saw on TV, very young age. And then I went to say goodbye to a friend. And as I was waiting in the elevator in Caracas, Venezuela, a guy comes out. And he just said, "Hey, I heard that you're going overseas." I said, "Yeah, where are you going?" I said, "I'm not sure. Go to Ohio." That was
okay.
it. That was it.
Okay.
So I came to Athens, Ohio for the first time, and then I moved to Toledo, and then Toledo moved to a small town called Forest. That's when I got married and had 5 kids, and that's it. So basically, going to my background, I studied to be a mechanical engineering at the University of Toledo, and for the first time in the lifetime of Venezuela, historically, the economy went down the tubes back in the 70s, 80s, and unfortunately, my dad got a phone call from my dad saying, "You're on your own. You're gonna have to, fend yourself."
He can't support you anymore.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay.
I can't do that. Even though I came in with some kind of scholarship, it was not enough, to do that. So anyway, I had to diverge myself into go into business. I went to work for a great company for, over 10 years. And this company was in charge of parking lots. It's called System Parking at the time. And, they were managers and owners of parking lots and garages throughout, Ohio and basically, the whole United States. So those are the background. I, married, have 5 kids, went on my own. I started my own business. I went into the insurance business, went into now translating at the time was essential. So Spanish community and somebody that can translate to speak both languages. It was very essential at the time. Currently, I translate for 3 different courts, in Wyandotte County, Hardin County, and Lima, Allen County. So those are stuff that keeps me busy traveling and all the stuff and going there. On Tuesday we'll go to one county, on Wednesday another county, and Thursday another county. So they already pre-program people that's Spanish speakers that I have to go into court. They say, well, Mr. Gill will be here on Wednesdays, so you're scheduled to Wednesday. So that's stuff that is have work. And they pays very well, and love politics. When I arrived to this country, Ronald Reagan was the president. I was 18, 19 years old, and of course, with the background, loving politics from back home, and the things that happened in Venezuela with Chavez and all that, horrible moments of changing Venezuela forever. Ronald Reagan was the president, so I kind of lured into Republicans and conservative, because that's all I saw. 19, 20 years old, you can easily be indoctrinated at the moment. So I consider myself at the middle of the ground, middle of the of the party, where the fact radical doesn't go with me either way.
Okay.
So, and that's the part that I translate into why be conservative.
Okay. So you've run before.
Yes, I ran for.
You ran for
Commissioner.
Franklin County Commissioner.
Yes.
Talk me through what your passion is to run and to. Is it simply you want to serve, or is this you want to implement certain policies in the city, in the area? What's your motivation?
Well, my motivation always has been the little guy, the guy's been left behind. There's so many opportunities that I have been blessed in so many ways. First of all, having 5 kids, overachievers. I'm divorced, and amazing. We were over the weekend together and seeing them, flourish amazingly to this great country. So I see the path that many people can take. There's a lot of ingredients into how your life is gonna, be forward into the future. I'm talking especially younger generations, but there's a factor which is I always consider: is it 1%, is it a 10%, or 5% luck? You happen to be in the right place at the right time with the right people. Those are the stuff that happened to me. I became actively engaged when, even though being in a small town, I helped the judge, I helped the mayor, I helped the especially in the conservative party, and those are the stuff motivated me to meet people. I mean, I can tell you with great honor is that I have met by handshake every president of the United States except Trump, and then Biden now.
Okay.
I made, Clinton, Obama. Obama spoke Spanish to me when we met.
So wait, you've got Reagan, both Bushes, Clinton, and Obama.
Handshake.
Okay.
Yes, and I mean literally, what are the odds of somebody, especially me with the background, even American people can say that, because, and then, when they came to, when the Columbus, I assisted. I mean, when Bush, the son, came to Lima, I was literally have my son on my shoulders, and we were right behind him. And guess what happened on the Lima News? My pictures is in the front page of the Lima News with my son on my shoulders.
There you go.
Not even planned. And of course, he walked by and, handshake. I mean, that's it. You can't say anything. You got split seconds, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then with Obama was very, very amazing because say, hola, amigo. And then he got my phone and we took a selfie,
That's fantastic.
Those are the stuff that it made me open my spectrum. Not so, no one party can change everything. We need all together to do this. And that's the part that I want to bring to, the city council, right now. It's just, how do we make progress instead of being divided? But my thing is the future. How do we get those kids from early on? We have rampant crimes, and of course we can get into that subject.
Well, I mean, you're right in front of me, right? The next question is what are the issues that are facing Columbus?
I believe if I'm not running for school board, but education will be the key to many issues that happen in the inner city. If we get that, somehow strengthen those kids to look at the vision. But my thing, having a math mind, physics, chemistry, if we start giving those ingredients to those kids early on, it will not scare them. I mean, I believe that, some of those kids that they're going into middle school and high school, they're scared to death to take science classes because they're not being taught or fed into their mind it's going to be okay, And those are the stuff that if we create a path, for those kids, and granted, again, I'm not running for school board, but at the same time, the city and the city council can be instrumental to help those inner cities to, look at what's happening, every weekend, every week, every day. Crime is getting younger and younger. So those are the stuff that's the passion that I would like to bring for city council. And how do we give them the tools so they can make it? I mean, we have great tools coming in right now. I'll give you an example. Intel. Intel can create, it's going to create, well, it already put Columbus international map.
Yeah.
So we're one of the cities that everybody's looking at. How is that changing Columbus even now? I heard people that are coming to Columbus, and granted, we're not going to talk about buying house cash. $700,000, $500,000 in the inner cities. I learned from a local company, a local institution, let's put it that way, that had purchased 21 houses in Linden to renovate them, to create houses attractive to who? Because they're purchasing these houses at $90,000, $100,000, and in 2-3 years they're already worth $200,000. So is it an investment for themselves? Is it something that they see that you and me don't see, real quick because they're concentrating onto the future? I don't know what it is, but all I know, and I can tell you for a fact, because I have walked every city, inner city in Columbus, Linden, South Linden, Southfield, Veteran Village. I walk with them, and I'm friends with the commissioners, and they always tell me that they see the changes in the neighborhood of somebody purchasing a house and not knowing who they are. And they not so much they get worried, but the biggest worry is property tax.
Okay.
If those houses that are that were purchasing $90,000, they go $200,000. Is eventual. They're going to increase the property tax. And they're not going to go just because of the house. It's every single house. So those people that has been there for a long time, 20, 30 years live there, they're going to be affected by the increment.
I mean, do you believe, though, that there's enough of an increase that those folks are being, literally pushed out of their home?
Totally.
Okay.
And that's the biggest worry. I had attended meetings where they are really worried what is going to happen to them in 10, 15 years. So how do we city council be essential? Unfortunately, things are not getting better. You see that by crime.
Okay.
And the crime is getting younger and younger. Is the city investing on the right issue at the right time? We are on the process historically that going from $1.4 billion budget to $1.76 billion. I believe the largest increment within 1 year in the history of the last 15 years of Columbus. Is it one party, in charge of everything? I don't believe so. That's where I want to bring a little bit of balance. I like to, the way I talk to people, and one guy gave me the idea, I want to be that wheel on the 18-wheeler that is going to be smoking when it's making the driver stop.
Right.
One wheel, it will make the driver stop. So I don't want to be controversial. I just want to make sure that we can refocus a little bit into the city, what's happening. We have issues in the police department for the last 5 years. We have a new chief, very amazing assistant chief. I know every single one of them, and I know their heart and their vision is to make Columbus better.
Yeah.
Do we have the right ingredient? Do we have the support from the government to make sure that the police is free to do and trust? I don't believe so. I talk to a lot of police officers, and they're really worried that whatever they do is going to be in the microscope of the public. Is going to be, they're hesitant. Granted, the city is investing quite a bit on Columbus, and into minorities, Now that we got Somalis, police officers, granted, that's a great idea. Do we have what it takes to make Columbus, to change Columbus into a safer city? I don't think so that we have right now. That's why somebody like me can bring an ingredient that is going to make this path to take a different route.
Okay.
Because it's important.
Can I press you there on what you've talked about education as a key there? I don't know that education really addresses anything that's happening with the police force.
Yes.
I mean, you could make training arguments, right?
Yeah.
What role do you think city council should play in helping to address that?
I believe that the people of Columbus, or the residents, are hungry for a change.
Okay.
And when I say that, in the terms of your question, is they know the current path is not working. Crime is rampant right now. I mean, you got cars, upside down. Because a young kid, it was driving with, high speed into the streets of Columbus. What are the ingredients? Why is that bringing that path? I believe by changing one thing in the city council, it can have repercussions of wave, in the city, to make sure that we look things differently. The people are hungry. They tell me in different communities, they say, Mr. Gill, we're supporting you because we know that we can't keep going the same way. We cannot, and one of the phrases I like to use, you be doing the same thing, expect different results. So those are the things that I want to bring to the table. And the odds are, right now my favor. There's 12 candidates. There are 9 open seats. Guess what? It just got a little bit bigger, but I'm fighting like I'm losing because of the fact of the matter. I want to make sure that I get there. I'm in the new districting, and I would like to create something that Columbus never seen before.
Okay, let's pivot then to the new districting system, the new structure we have. What thoughts you have on it, how you feel about it?
Well, this is something that they come up with. The idea is not too bad. It's not a complete redistricting, because the fact of the matter that anybody from any part of the city can vote for me. I do have to represent this, my district. I do have to win my district in order to make it, but anybody can vote for me.
You don't have to win your district.
I do have to win my district currently. I don't know how they're going to monitor that.
So I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
And so maybe we'll edit this out.
That's right.
My understanding is that each you have to live in the district that you are representing.
Yes.
But that the voting is simply citywide.
It's citywide.
Yeah,
that's right.
Everybody's voting for everybody.
Everybody's voting for
right.
everybody. And that's my understanding. That's why I call it, I use the phrase fake districting. Because, it doesn't make any sense, what's happening right now. But then, those are the rules right now. They created the rules. They had the majority. They're controlling basically everything. Well, I want to bring things differently, because the fact of the matter that we can be doing the same thing. The city of Columbus needs us. We're going to be an international city, and with the crime that we have and that is escalating, it's just something that we have to cure that illness somehow, curb it. We can't eradicate crime right now, but the fact of the matter, we can put a little bit of brakes. Is what happens. Why do I go into education? Because education is a factor of those kids. If we can create a different mindset, a different vision, a different dream for those kids can start thinking differently. Right now, the inner city kids are basically lost. And those are the stuff. How come, and these are the things that I see, how come Dublin, Westerville, Worthing, New Albany, they're already creating classes for Intel. Some of the stuff that they have to do in order to create a better path for their life. Those are the stuff in the inner city. I am the one that brought Intel a few years back to the inner cities. I told to the air commissioners, I told them, I said, listen, you're missing the ball. This is something that it cannot, exponentially gain speed if we create a path. I got calls from different pastors. Tell us more about this. What's going on? How come we don't know? And those pastors, I said, Gil, you had the microphone. Tell us what's going on. And I bring this subject, and now they're engaging. And I tell you what, probably I can say that I brought this up 2 years ago when Intel, even mentioned, Intel, when I found out Intel 5 years ago, good friends with the Columbus One. You know, they're the ones that created that bridge, and their budget for Intel was $5 billion. And then the increment the following year went to 7. Right now, do you know what? I went to a meeting in about Intel, how they're creating all the stuff, and it's interesting the stuff that you hear that you don't know. How come they landed in near Columbus? Because they're not in Franklin County. They're in another county nearby. One, Texas. You know, that's number one there. They just created that little boundary, and they say, we're building right here. And another one is seismic, you know, the earth movement. There has no been earth movement in the area for like over 1,000 years. You know, microchips, you know, how they have to be so precise. The fact of the matter, they can't have this kind of stuff happening, you know, it's any ground movement. That's why they're going deep. They're going to make sure the assurance that none of the stuff will happen. Isn't that interesting? That,
I had no idea.
Yeah, so those are the stuff that it's not only that, but it's one of the ingredients that created that area. So appetizer for them, for Intel, you know, among other things, you know, and those are the stuff that is real close to our neighbors, real close to the inner city. What are we creating? And that's the stuff that I want to do, create a little bridge. Most of those kids don't have no clue what's happening to their future. We're talking 5 years from now. They need close to 20,000 jobs, employees. Not only that, and only that what Intel created. Now we have LG going to, very 40 minutes from now. We got the Segway batteries, going so many, 40 minutes from here. The destruction they're going to create in the highways is going to be amazing. We might have another 270, outer belt.
An outer belt.
Yeah. An outer belt. And what I hear is going to be with few exits, so they can be, moving traffic very heavy, so and faster. And my understanding is that 18 counties going to be affected by Intel.
Yeah.
And that's tremendous. And
we're basically the epicenter of it, right?
Linden, right? Linden's right there. What are we going to create? Those kids need science on their mind, and the only way to open their mind hungry for science, and when they're little, so we can expose them and they're not afraid. When granted, we have to the next. If you don't mind, let's go to the next phase. What do we do with the kids that already graduated?
Yeah.
We need to create a path for those kids to go back and recycle them mentally, educate with education, to put them back in there. I do know that I found out by a friend of mine that works for Intel that Intel might have a program that you can join, and if you go to that program for 1 year, you have 95% guarantee that you get a job in Intel. And it's a 1 year program that you have to do it. But in order to do that, the requirement is that you take a little one science class in every year of high school. That's the requirement. If you have that, they can fit into it.
Got it. Final big question. What basically, why should people vote for you? What's your value proposition that you're bringing to the table here?
Well, I care. I'm not doing this for me. I told during the over the weekend, if I get elected, and I'm not that the fact that people will like what I have to say, I want to be behind people, pushing them into the right path. This is not going to be something that for me, I'm not going to be in the front. I'm going to be behind the scenes, because that's where the power is in Columbus right now. If we get behind the scene and support all those communities, and it's a little spiral web. If you move something here, something moves, a little short distance. Those are the stuff that we have to get with the leaders in the inner cities, area commissioners, because they know what their city needs, they know what their neighborhood needs, and they know their families that need help. All this money that right now we're, the largest budget that we have in Columbus in a long time, $1.76 billion. I mean, we're the 30th largest city in the country, and we are, in the crime, we're 149 out of 150, 130 out of the 150 worst cities in the country.
Okay.
We're way there. Is that the reputation that Columbus wants to have, having one of the largest company international here. I think we can do better. We must do better, and the city and the inner city is hungry for being better.
Okay. I end every interview by asking, what do you think Columbus is doing well, and what do you think Columbus is not doing so well?
One of the things that Columbus is doing well, raising money. We got a $1.76 billion, got approved by everybody in there, which is all supporting each other. I've never seen criticizing the mayor or anybody like that. So according to them, we had the perfect mayor. I think the mayor is somebody that, that he needs to, go away and bring new mind. And I don't mean to get into that subject, but the fact of the matter, the city council is in the same path. There's very unfortunately we don't have that many challengers to run for city council. And you mentioned a few names. We have to change. We have to change. What is Columbus doing better? I was in one of the grand openings on the pools. They opened 7 amazing pools. And those are the stuff that is an investment for the community. I get that, but the way it happened over the weekend when we celebrated, July 4th in the city, and on Monday, and somebody started yelling, whatever, and everybody started running, thinking that there was a shooter within themselves, and people got hurt. I heard a friend of mine that literally fell, and people went over them. Those are the stuff that we have to be careful. Was it a prank game that the kids were doing? I don't know. But how vicious you have to be on your mind to create something with this, like, I don't know how many, 300,000, 400,000 people downtown. Those are worrisome moments that we have to pay attention. Nothing happened, thank God, but had the potential. The future is going to be if we get those kids that I believe were kids they were doing this. If we get those kids in different thinking, different mindset, and creating something for them that they can build their future, we can distract them into doing things that they shouldn't be doing. What do we need to do? Do we need to get more law enforcement involved? The police. I mean, granted, I have a great relationship with them, and those are the stuff that we need to create bridges between our institutions in the city. A few years back, as you knew, the mayor was not getting along with the chief, so he had to search for a new chief. We have a great chief right now that is looking to create something better than what she got from the beginning. So, and sorry, what was your other question?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you sort of went over it. Like, what are we doing well and what are we not doing so well?
Yeah. So Columbus needs a little different light so people can start seeing. I want to bring that light so people can see, it can be better than what we have right now. Got it.
Luis Gil, thank you.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the moment here. And all I want to ask the voters to give me an opportunity. And I don't want to use that famous phrase, you have nothing to lose,
Okay.
So,
all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Confluence Cast presented by Columbus Underground. Again, you can get more information on what we discussed today in the show notes for this episode at theconfluencecast.com. Please rate, subscribe, share this episode of the Confluence Cast with your friends, family, contacts, enemies, your favorite volunteer. If you're interested in sponsoring the Confluence Cast, get in touch with us. We can be reached by email at info@theconfluencecast.com. Our theme music was composed by Benji Robinson. Our producer is Philip Cogley. I'm your host, Tim Fulton. Have a great week.